everyone, this is Ilina and welcome to another LDRS creative card video. In this video, we're gonna make 2 cards for 1 using the poinsettia background stamp. The stamp measures 5.5 by 5.5, and also on the back of the stamp you have idea how to color it. I'll be following that idea for coloring the leaves, however I'll color the flowers using different color. I've already stamped the image onto hot press watercolor paper. I stamped it a couple of times using the Raven hybrid ink. Then I stamped on top of it with the Watermark ink and then embossed with clear embossing powder. We're also going to be using the Elegant Christmas Sentiment stamp set. So let's get started. I'll be using some gouache, gold gouache for the center of the flowers. And for the flowers and the leaves, I'll be using liquid watercolors from Dr. P.H. Martin. So I'm starting with light green, and I will be coloring in first the leaves. Again, as I said, I will be following the guide, the idea on back of the stamp set. I have it in front of me, which is kind of behind the camera, so I'm looking as I'm coloring. Also, I decided this was very bright for me, so I decided to add a little bit darker green to kind of mute that very bright green color for the leaves. So I'm just going, I'm coloring the leaves one by one. And I'm using a traditional paintbrush. You can use, also you can use aqua brush, the ones with the water reservoir built in. I feel like I have more control when I'm using traditional paintbrush, so that's what I'm doing here. And here I'm using number 6, since those are larger leaves, and it works very well. Also, the embossed image lets me kind of stay within the lines when I'm coloring. So I'm done with the leaves now. I'm adding more water in the palette. It's easier to have that water on my right side. And I'm using jungle green, which is actually blue color, to color in the poinsettias. As I said at the beginning, I'm not following the color guide. I'm just following where the leaves are for the flowers. So I'm using a little bit non-traditional colors for Christmas cards today. So I'm again coloring the petals one by one, leaving the center uncolored, and we're going to add the gold at the end. Again, I'm using a paper towel here to remove some of the paint from my paintbrush to be able to achieve gradient color, where it's darker towards the center of the flower and lighter towards the ends of the petals. And again, because I had the image embossed, it helps with bleeding or preventing bleeding from one petal to another, so I can color petals that are next to each other. If you stamp only with the hybrid ink, which is waterproof, you can watercolor. Make sure, if you don't emboss, make sure that you color petals or leaves that are not touching until they dry, and then color in between. So now we're finishing the flower petals. And what I'll do now, I'll just squeeze a little bit of that gold gouache onto my palette. I diluted a little bit with water, and I'm just applying in the center of the flowers. And again, the embossed image helps with creating those nice lines around the center. So I'm done with that, and I will set it aside to dry. While that is drying, I will create my note cards. I'm using one white and one black. I'm making top folding note cards. So I made both using cardstock measuring 4 1/4 by 11, and then I scored at 5.5. Next, what I'm doing, I'm trimming my panel. It's already completely dry. Just trimming the ends here. And next I'll trim it to width of 4 1/4, so that will ensure that our entire note card is covered, the width of the note card. Now I'm cutting it diagonally. So we're going to use one piece for one card and another piece for another card. So for the white note card, I decided to put it on the bottom and for the black on the top. Also, what I'll do for the white one, I will cut another piece of paper. Again, I'll trim it diagonally to match my watercolored piece. And on this one, I'll stamp the sentiment and it will go over so that watercolor piece will appear to be underneath. So here is how it's gonna go. It's a little bit off the camera here. Also, I decided to use some gold glitter paper to match the center of the flowers. Before I go onto the adding the gold glitter paper, I'm stamping the sentiment from Elegant Holiday onto that diagonally cut white piece. So now what I'll do, I will cut the strips of the glitter paper and I will adhere one behind the watercolored piece that will go onto the black note card. And for the white note card, that glitter piece will go behind the panel that we stamped the sentiment because that one goes on top. So I'm just using acrylic blocks to put those underneath to dry flat. In the meantime, I'll adhere this watercolor piece on the bottom of that note card. My note card is upside down, so it's opening upside down if you can see. I'm trimming just the ends of that glitter paper. And on the back, for added dimension, I am adding some foam tape. Just making sure that cover the entire back of it. And now we can finish off the first card. I'm using my scoring tool to have that nice corner there so it's adhered nice and straight. So we're done with the first one. Now let's do the second one really quick. So I'm again trimming that excess of the glitter paper. And now we're going to stamp the sentiment using the Watermark ink and we'll emboss in white. So I added that panel on top so I know the angle how I want that sentiment stamped. So I'm stamping a couple times using the Watermark ink. And this one is directly onto our note card. I'm adding some white embossing powder, wiping off some excess, and using my heat tool, I will heat set or melt the embossing powder. Next, we'll adhere that watercolor panel on the top side of that note card. I'm using again foam tape. In this case, I'm using black foam tape. And again, I'm using my scoring tool to use that edge there or corner there to adhere that one straight. So here are two cards. So with one watercolor panel, we made two cards, and here it's a little close up. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the LDRS Creative YouTube channel. Also visit our blog for more ideas and more inspiration. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye!